The first time that the Rebbe referred to Reb Zalman Shimon as the Marah Asra of Crown Heights, of the community, I think, was Yud Shvat Tov Shin Lamed Vov. By that Farbrengen, the Rebbe did something very interesting. The Rebbe spoke about Shleimus Haaretz, about not giving back any territory of Eretz Yisrael. And the Rebbe said that he would want that 72 Rabbonim who are found in the crowd should paskin that Eretz Yisrael belongs to Yidden and you can't give it back. The Rebbe said, and this is going to be done in front of a public, he used the word Fnei Hasiris, Yisrael, which really means in front of thousands of Yidden, so this will have an effect. And the Rebbe gave a cheshbon of 72 because there are 70 nations in the world which are against Yidden, and it says in Sforim that Esav and Yishmael are on top of them, so together it's 72. Also concerning Sanhedrin, we find a cheshbon of 70, in some place 71, and then some place it says 72. So therefore, we need 72 people against them to paskin, and these are Rabbanim to paskin that Eretz Yisrael belongs to Yidden, and you can't give back Eretz Yisrael to the Goyim, any part of Eretz Yisrael. And the Rebbe said that this is not a joke, and this is not a Purim spiel. He said, if anybody thinks that it's a joke or a Purim spiel, so Yilehem Asher Lehem, what can I do? Those that take it serious should see that other people also take it serious. Then the Rebbe said that some of the Rabbanim should even speak, should say a Dvar Torah and speak the sinyan that Eretz Yisrael belongs to the Yidden. So Harav Yola spoke. Then the Rebbe said that there are here Rabbanim from Eretz Yisrael, so some of the Rabbanim from Eretz Yisrael spoke. And then later on the Rebbe said that since the Frierdiker Rebbe's first Askonos Tziburius was connected to Timchet Mimim, so let the Rosh Yeshiva from Timchet Mimim also speak from Timchet Mimim Amol and Timchet Mimim now. So Harav Rivkin spoke, Harav Pekarsky spoke, Harav Mentlik spoke. But before that, the Rebbe said like this: that since we have here the Rov of this shul, which really means this community, but that he said of this shul of 770, so we'll also give up Psak Din. And he turned to Reb Zalman Shimon, and Reb Zalman Shimon, Dvorkin, got up and said a few words. Bechal, everyone knows he was not a speaker in long speeches. He just said, I think, the words like Eretz Yisrael belong to Am Yisrael or something like that. But the Rebbe referred to him as the Rov of this community, the Rov and the Beis HaKnesses. And I think this was the first time that the Rebbe referred in public to him that he is the Rov of this Beis HaKnesses. I also mentioned once before that when the Rebbe spoke about the Tiny Shows, it was Shabbos Parshas Vayishlach, Tov Shin Mem. So the Rebbe spoke about making a Tiny Show that the Rabbonim made. So the Rebbe said that those people who are in this neighborhood, in this shchunah, definitely have to listen to the Rabbonim that were Machal decided to make this Tiny Shows. And since this is what the Marah Asra paskant, and this was obviously referring to Reb Zalman Shimon, and he has smicha of Rabbanis from the Rabbanim before him. This goes back Ish Mepish till Moshe Rabbeinu, who got it from the Eibishter. So if he says, you have to listen to him. The Rebbe did say that those people are in a different neighborhood, so they're not under the, so to speak, the authority of the Marah Asra from here, but they have the Marah Asra from their place. But besides that, the Rebbe said, since they have a shaykhis to me, and this is what I'm going to do because I am also the under the authority of the Marah Asra here. So a Mela has a shaykhis to everybody. Anybody who's a shaykhis to me has a shaykhis to them, especially if the Rav in those places will also say that, etc., etc. So here the Rebbe was very, very clear that Rebbe Zalman Shimon is the Marah Asra of Crown Heights, and B'Mela, since the Rebbe said since he is under him, it has, so everybody else also has to listen. So this gave him a broader authority. But this is all what the Rebbe officially said that he is the Marah Asra. But the first time he said it, I think, was Yud Shvat Tov Shin Lamed Vov. We also know that the Rebbe would himself send his shaylas to Reb Zalman Shimon. As I mentioned once before, the shayla about the part of the Kaisel that someone sent to Reb Zalman Shimon, a little piece of rock that fell off from the Kaisel, and he asked the Rebbe, someone sent it to the Rebbe, and the Rebbe sent it to Reb Zalman Shimon, asking him, and he paskin that he really should give it back, and more things that we know that the Rebbe himself would ask shaylas by Reb Zalman Shimon. The Rebbe would send other people with shaylas to Reb Zalman Shimon. We know that when the person would ask the Rebbe shayla, usually the Rebbe would not answer shaylas. He would just say shayla l'Rav, shayla l'Meirei, other l'shaynas. But sometimes he would be very clear that he's sending it to Reb Zalman Shimon. The right, this should be asked by Reb Zalman Shimon Dvorkin. I myself had an experience that the Rebbe wrote that to me too. When we were in Russia, close to 40 years ago, so people asked different shaylas for us to ask the Rebbe. So when I came back, I wrote the Rebbe a report, and I put in some of the shaylas that they asked. So on one of the shaylas, the Rebbe wrote, Yishal es harab Reb Zalman Shimon sheyichad Dvorkin. You should ask Reb Zalman Shimon. Now remember, I asked Reb Zalman Shimon the shaila, and Reb Zalman Shimon later told me he discussed it with Reb Moshe Feinstein, and he came up with the psak din. But here we see that the Rebbe sent the shailas to him. I also remember I was sitting once in Kailul, and in the middle came in Rabbi Yoman Klein and brought Reb Zalman Shimon a answer that the Rebbe wrote to his letter, and that's going to be in the next voice note.